Um, Golly, I hope my mic is working. In case you haven't noticed, it's just me tonight. Todd got hung up doing stuff. Stuff, I tell you, stuff. So, sorry, just me. But hey, I'm glad you're here. I'm really super glad. Um, we're Calm Nation. We do trivia. We do other stuff, but mostly trivia. And tonight, we're talking about Ms. Marvel, Generation Y. Now, we have done Ms. Marvel before, but this is a new book, and we like it. We figured we'd give it a shot with a new movie and everything. If you're watching live, and yes, watch live, you can go to crowd.live/xkz3h and play along. If you're not watching us live, maybe you can be here next Tuesday. But above all, give us a like, give us a follow, give us, you know what I'm asking for. You know it, because you're smart and you know stuff. That's why you're here. Again, it's crowd.live/xkz3h, or you can scan the QC code, or, well, you can just play along in your head. Anyway, let's get started. Kamala's Ms. Marvel. You know who I'm talking about, but she's not the first Ms. Marvel. The first Ms. Marvel is well, let's hope you said fourth, because fourth is correct. So we've done a couple shows. We've talked about Marvel and Captain Marvel and Ms. Marvel. The first incarnation of Ms. Marvel, the first Ms. Marvel was Carol Danvers. Later, she decided to become Captain Marvel, but she started off as Ms. Marvel. And she first appeared in Marvel Superheroes number 13, 1968. And as we've said before, she was actually the issue after Marvel. Now, the second Ms. Marvel was Sharon Ventura, and she was a friend of the Thing, and she hung out with the Thing, and she was called She-Thing as well as Ms. Marvel, and that was the thing. The third incarnation was not so much a hero. It was Carla Sofin, who made her first appearance in 1975, I think. She was a member of the Dark Avengers, and let's just say, if you had something you valued, you shouldn't give it to her to hang on to, because she wasn't going to do that. Wasn't going to do it. Not good. Now, Kamala, she has been Ms. Marvel for a minute. What title did she first appear in? Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel number 14, I think, August 2013. And she was somehow part of the, or at least appeared in the Captain Marvel Avengers Assemble event of 2013, where Captain Marvel ended Magnetron's reign. You know, you might want to go and look it. You might want to pick up the book if you see it. Now you know. But I want to stop for a minute and talk about Ms. Okay? Ms. being a title, Ms. Marvel, Ms. Jones, Ms. whatever. It's a thing. Now, you might think that Ms. started in like the 60s and 70s and it's wrapped up in the feminist movement, and you would be wrong. Sorry. The first time someone proposed using Ms. as an honorific, as a title, was 1901. Okay, so follow this. In the 1700s, 1800s, you were called, if you were female, mistress, Mistress Jones, Mistress Marvel, Mistress this, Mistress that. But English is an ever evolving language, and slowly but surely it started to become Miss and Mrs. And again, initially Miss was a younger woman and Mrs. was an older woman, but English is an ever evolving language. And it started to mean that a Miss was unmarried and a Mrs. was married. This didn't originally have those kind of connotations. And so in 1901, a newspaper called The Republican of Springfield, Massachusetts, you knew it was Massachusetts, said, hey, maybe we should call them Ms. because you didn't want to insult someone by assuming they were married when they weren't or assuming they weren't married when they were. 1901. But yeah, it really didn't catch on until much, much later. These are things we know. Now, Kamala, come on, you know this one. This one's kind of easy, I admit it. Kamala's last name. Kamala's last name is? It's Khan, Kamala Khan. Now, Khan is a common last name. It roughly translates to king, but when I say roughly, I mean roughly. I mean, you know, it's sort of a ruler, but Kamala Khan, she's our Ms. Marvel. And then there's Amir. Who's Amir? Amir is part of her family, and Amir is her brother. Now there is a very popular, successful Indian actor who basically has the same name, but that's not Kamala's brother. Her brother is in the comics. Her brother is very religious and devout Muslim who spends a lot of time praying and studying and acting as an intermediary between Kamala and her parents. In the MCU, her brother has gotten married, although the wife only gets a phone call in the most recent movie, doesn't appear on screen at all. Hopefully that's not a spoiler. Like, hi, honey, I'm going up to space. Talk to you later. Happens all the time. And Kamala is aided by her friend named what? Brake Car Bruno. Our geek runs deep. Yes, Kamala is aided by her friend Bruno Corelli. Bruno is Kamala's guy in the chair. Because you got to have a guy in the chair if you're a superhero, right? Right? You got to have a guy in the chair. Now, yeah, most modern comics or superhero stories and whatnot have a guy in the chair. Think of them as project managers, making sure that you're optimizing your villain fighting. But, you know, the guy in the chair is smart. The guy in the chair is technologically savvy. The guy in the chair can prevent a missile launch with just a few keystrokes. And let's face it, I am Todd's guy in the chair. Kamala calls up her powers by saying what? Embiggen. I mean, she says various things for what she wants. But hang on, before I get into this, if you're not familiar with Kamala in the comics, if you're only familiar with Kamala in the MCU, she's got different powers in the comics. I love her powers in the comics, but you know, she basically can make it's sort of like Mr. Fantastic, only different because she can make parts of her bigger and smaller and whatnot. Um, it's and the way it's usually drawn, you can tell the artist is having a lot of fun because it's cartoony and it's comic. It's funny. Um, but yeah, in the movies, it's more of like a Green Lantern-y kind of thing. And um, um, And by the way, if Todd was here, I would torment him by asking him what the magic powers, what the magic things were for the other words. And for no additional points, would tell him 3x29YZ4A, that's the formula for Speed Force, which was used by Liberty Bell, Johnny Quick, and for about 2 issues, Joni Swift. But that's another story. Kajida, that's what the Blue Beetle says sometimes, depending on which Blue Beetle we're talking about. And Sabak is what the villain Sabak says to become the villain Sabak. So, you know, that one wasn't hard. Embiggen! She doesn't have to say anything in the MCU. Now, Kamala thinks she is missing what in her superhero quest? Costume, dastardly enemy, secret hideout, theme music. What is it? It's theme music. Come on, she has the costume. You know she has the costume. And all through this issue, she is battling a dastardly enemy. She does have a secret hideout. It's, you know, it's kind of cool. But she doesn't have theme music. And if you're thinking, well, this is a goofy thing, it's like, well, Kamala's having fun. See, here's the thing, and here's what I love about Kamala as Ms. Marvel. She is first and foremost a fangirl. She is enjoying being Ms. Marvel because she gets to help people, she gets to make a difference. And that's what she likes. That's what draws her to it. She didn't have to have her beloved uncle die. She didn't have to be lectured about with great power comes great responsibility. She was there for the hero bit. She wanted to be a hero, not just the super part. You know, it's like the powers, that's cool, but I'm a hero. She was there from the jump. Now, the inventor, did we mention the dastardly enemy? The inventor is a clone. A clone, not a clown, a clone. Of whom? Thomas Edison. I know you know the name Thomas Edison. I know you know the name Thomas Edison. He is a legendary inventor. He is crediting with inventing, or at least organizing, electric power generation, sound recording, essentially the technology behind early motion pictures. He also worked with rechargeable batteries. Rechargeable batteries are that old. He invented a fluoroscope, which is essentially necessary for the X-ray machine, and he improved telegraph technology. So all that. He also tried to talk to dead people, which didn't work so well, but he was convinced he could do it, and he was wrong. So even Thomas Edison screwed up. You know, be easy on yourself today. And yeah, so the inventor, the super evil enemy is a guy who's Thomas Edison, but not just Thomas Edison. He's also part what? And you know, I'm just going to say cleanliness, it's really important. You know, making sure you're kind of being careful, because if you're going to go to all the trouble to get the DNA of a famous, brilliant inventor to make a super evil villain, you should really make sure that your pet cockatiel has not contaminated the laboratory, or the library. I'm just saying, you know, wipe clean. These things happen. Now, in this book, in this story, Generation Y, Kamala teams up with who? Who does Kamala team up with? Big hint. It's not Zatanna, because she's in DC. She teams up with Wolverine. Wolverine, y'all. Now, again, Remember like 2 seconds ago when I was talking about the fact that Kamala is such a fangirl? Can you imagine? Can you imagine how excited she is to be slugging it out, fighting side by side with Wolverine? Well, actually, don't imagine. Go read the book. It's fun, it's cute, but it's good. It feels good. It's not too cute, just cute enough. Now, together with Wolverine, they fight what? They have to fight. They fight an alligator. Difference between an alligator and a crocodile? Length of nose. But it's not just any alligator, it's a bionic alligator. Anyway, no actual alligators were harmed in the making of this comic book. It's a bionic alligator. And by the way, some of the tactics they use to defeat the alligator are super, super gross. I mean, not like, not like, but gross. You. Not like scary or terrifying or like entrails everywhere. Now, in this story, again, Wolverine, he's missing something. He's missing part of what he is. And in this story, it's the healing factor. Now, this is not the first time that Wolverine has lost his healing power. Probably won't be the last. Wolverine was unable to grow back. Remember in X-Men Age of Apocalypse, he like lost his hand. I think Cyclops had a little something to do with that. But anyway, obviously he has one now, so somebody gave him a hand with that. And when Wolverine, you remember when Wolverine was a zombie, he didn't have healing. He couldn't unzombify himself. The zombie virus overwhelmed the healing factor. And let's all remember that Wolverine is vulnerable to carbonadium bullets, so don't give that a shot. And bottom line, Wolverine can just, the healing factor takes a lot out of you, takes a lot out of him. Sometimes he can just be too tired to get it done. So, all of that said, he doesn't have his healing factor. And you get to read the book and maybe try to figure out why. Now, Kamala's hanging out with Wolverine. She's hanging out and she says, hey, maybe I'm a mutant. Because Wolverine's a mutant, let's face it. For no additional points, when did his mutant powers manifest? When his father died in front of him. James Howlett. Anyway, at the time that this story is set, Kamala doesn't know, why she got superpowers, how she got superpowers. She just knows that she's got superpowers, and that's okay. She likes it. But since she's hanging out with Wolverine, who is a mutant, she's like, well, I must be a mutant too, right? That makes sense. That makes sense. Because, gosh, what else could it be? What could it else be beyond the mutant? Well, Terrigen Mist, Terrigen Mist, Terrigen Mist. Okay, so in the MCU, Kamala got sent the bangles by Grandma. Really nice. Be nice to your grandparents. You never know. Dr. Fate, grandparents gave him his stuff. Anyway, in the MCU, they called the bangles quantum bands, but you and I know they're negabands, but they're never going to be called that, so they're calling them quantum bands. But in the comics continuity, she went out walking after midnight out in the Terrigen Mist moonlight, and then she was powered. Now, Terrigen Mist comes from when Terrigen crystals are exposed to water at the correct temperature. And these mists are pumped into, the air. And if you encounter them and you change, that's called pterogenesis. Um, Mutants have varying reactions to pterogen mists, but if you're fully human, you die. You die, you die, you die. There's no coming back from the pterogen mist. But if you're an inhuman, the Inhumans, Black Bolt, whatnot, if you're exposed to pterogen mists, then there's a belief amongst the Inhumans that the pterogenesis, assuming you can go through it, simply reveals who you truly are. So she's got to be an Inhuman to go through the pterogen mists and not die, or at least, be impacted positively. And part of this book is her sort of figuring that out. Other people figuring it out quicker, but figuring it out. Still nice to, grandma gave you superpowers. Okay, so again, the book we're talking about is Ms. Marvel Generation Y. In this book, look, I usually read the synopsis, which is painful. Who is the inventor? And what does he want with the all-new Ms. Marvel and all of her friends? Maybe Wolverine can help. If Kamala can stop fangirling about meeting her favorite superhero next to Cyclops, that is, she tells Matt that goes over super well. Then Kamala crosses paths with Inhumanity by meeting the royal dog Lockjaw. But why is Lockjaw really with Kamala? As Ms. Marvel discovers more about her past, the inventor continues to threaten her future. And how much longer can Ms. Marvel's life take over Kamala Khan's? This fan favorite, critically acclaimed, amazing new series, continues as Kamala Khan proves why she's the best and most adorable superhero there is. Although, again, just adorable enough. Not too adorable, but, This was written by G. Willow Wilson, who is the author of The Bird King, and co-creator of this series, Ms. Marvel. Ms. Marvel has won the Hugo. This series has won the American Book Award and probably a bunch of other stuff. And the writer, G. Willow Wilson, she's written for some X-Men, some Superman, some Wonder Woman, and again, in addition to the comic books, she writes fantasy and science fiction novels, and she's good. She's good. The artist on this book, Jake Wyatt, provided some illustrations. He is the author of Necropolis and has written and drawn for film, television, and comics like this. He's done Cartoon Network's Adventure Time. He's done Nickelodeon's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He's done The Well, which has done well. And then again, one of the other artists is Adrian Alfona, who is Canadian, and he's known for a lot of his Marvel stuff, specifically The Runaways, which he did with Brian K. Vaughan. Hey, thank you for coming. We did it kind of quick tonight because I didn't have Todd to talk to. Feel free to give us an email, questions, comments, corrections. We always want to hear it. We want to hear what you're reading. We want to hear what you like. Let us know what you'd like us to cover. And if Todd was here, he would end the show with his traditional, whatever you do, keep reading comics. Oh, and like and follow and heart and all that. Thank you.